one wants to educate themselves, but when you're buying a property, this is the biggest asset that you're going to have, probably besides the car that you drive, and you should take the time to educate yourself. If you need to take 30 minutes and YouTube some stuff, take 30 minutes and YouTube some stuff, right? Face it, mortgages are really boring. They're very intricate.
Boring. Is it possible to time the market?
In my opinion, no, I don't think so. It's like trying to predict what the weather is going to be like on September 25th this year. Like, your guess is as good as mine.
Such a good answer.
I love this concept. And if I'm right, I am the economist of choice, everybody. All right. All right.
We're back.
Let's talk.
Guys?
It's been really good.
Yeah. Happy belated.
Oh, thank you very
Happy
much.
birthday.
Oh, my birthday was incredible.
Good.
Yeah, I checked myself into a spa for 24 hours.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said you're going off.
I went off the grid, and then I went to another realm, and then I came back. Yeah. But no, it was really good. How was your guys' week?
Good. Yeah.
It's been
Busy.
good.
Busy.
It's been
Busy.
busy for sure. Yeah.
Nice. So, this is episode number 5 of...
Is it?
I think it's episode 7.
No way.
No. What are we?
Ian, we're on episode... Producer, we're on episode 5. Episode 5 of Keeping It Fresh. My name is Jinder, and this is Keeping
It.
Fresh.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk all things real estate current.
Yes. Yes.
Current. So how are you currently feeling, Ian?
I feel good. I feel good going into the summer. The market's a little bit weird right now. Like, every pocket is a little bit different, and every type of home is a little bit different.
I think the price points are different
Price
too,
points too,
right?
yeah.
So, and depending on what market you're in, if you're in Toronto, North York,
Yeah.
Oakville is different than Burlington.
Exactly.
If you're, sub $1 million, it's still moving.
Yeah.
So the good houses are gone.
Yeah. I like it that you bring that up because in the macro, we have a specific viewpoint, but in the micro, even in specific cities, let's say Milton, for example, you have different pockets. In the micro, different things are happening. And then even within the condo market or the townhouse market or freehold market, you're seeing different things happening in the same cities. So
Yep.
there's a lot of research that we have to do all the time.
Yep.
There's a lot of deep diving that we're doing.
Just depends on the price point, really.
Yeah.
Like anything under $1 million in Burlington is moving quickly. Even under like 1.1 is moving, right? So, and when you're going to the luxury market, some things are on the market for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like buyers have a lot to choose from, but then again, not a lot to choose from because inventory is still a little bit low.
Yeah.
I find buyers are being extremely, extremely picky now, more so than other years.
Yeah.
It's like if one thing is off, they're not willing to make the sacrifice, and they're okay with waiting it out to kind of see if they can check every single one of their boxes.
Yeah.
But for that, even just moving into interest rates, right? Like a lot of buyers think that when the interest rates come down, then I'll make the move. But a lot of people don't realize when the Bank of Canada makes their announcement, that interest rate really only reflects the variable rate, right? It doesn't really reflect the fixed rate. The fixed
Correct.
rates go off the bond yield.
Can you jump into interest rates with what you think's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Also kind of like educationally for, let's say, people that have no idea.
Yeah, so I don't want to bore people because like mortgages are boring. Let's face it. Mortgages are really boring. They're very intricate.
Boring. Dude, somebody did that to me once. I was talking and they were like, boring, and walked away. But it was a friend of mine.
I'm going to say videos.
Yeah, no. But I was like, I love this concept. I'm gonna, because everybody's so boring all day long. I wish I could just be like boring anything.
But mortgages are boring.
Yeah, they are.
No one wants to educate themselves, but when you're buying a property, this is the biggest asset that you're going to have, probably besides the car that you drive, and you should take the time to educate yourself. If you need to take 30 minutes and YouTube some stuff, take 30 minutes and YouTube some stuff, right? But yeah, prime right now is 7.2. So when you get a variable, it's usually 7.2 minus, 0.7 or whatever it is. Some variable rates are in and around the 6.2% right now. So when the Bank of Canada makes their interest rate, then prime will come down, and then therefore variable rate will come down. It doesn't necessarily mean that fixed rates, if you can get a 5-year 4.99. That's pretty standard right now. Maybe a 5-year fixed 4.99 for a 5-year.
Yeah.
3-year fixed is in and around the 5.2, 5.3 range. But again, I mean, I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty.
Sure.
Right? There's 2 different types of variables as well. So yeah, a lot of people don't know, right? It affects your mortgage, it affects your qualification. And the next announcement is next week, the 5th.
Yeah.
June
June
5th.
5th.
As of now, it's May 20. What is the date today?
I think today's the
May
28th.
28th,
May
right?
28th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It'll be next week sometime.
There is a positive turn kind of happening right now.
Yeah.
Inflation rates have come down. Employment is still pretty low.
Yep.
But what do you think is going to be happening in June? Do you think the rates are going to finally
I mean,
come
I
down?
hope that the rates come down a little bit, because even if it's 0.25%, I think it'll give the public some hope.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go off of the news headlines. Bank of Canada
Exactly.
held rates, Bank of Canada held rates. But again, they don't know that that's only really to the variable. It doesn't really affect the fixed. The fixed goes off the bond yields.
Yep.
So if the rates come down, then people might get happy again, but then turn back and say, educate yourself.
Yeah.
How sad is that our happiness is determined by interest rates in this world that we live in?
Yeah.
Can we just have a moment of gratitude? If you're watching right now, anybody, just write in the comments right now, tell us 5 things you're grateful for.
Besides interest.
Come on, seriously. But no, it is that.
Yeah, I think it's going to drop 0.25%. I hope it does. It
You're
should.
you're saying in June it's going to drop a quarter?
I hope so.
What do you think? I don't think it's going to drop a quarter in June.
I think we follow suit with what the US does, and right now it doesn't look like the US is moving. So I think that all the indicators are pointing that they should be lowering it, but I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Until the next one.
Till July.
Hopefully in July they do,
Because
but
it's
again,
June,
like
July, and then September.
And if I'm right, I am the economist of choice, everybody. They say that the best economists are wrong 99% of the time.
Oh, yeah,
And
they're
that-
all wrong.
And that one time that they're right on something big, and they become, put up on a
Best,
pedestal,
yeah.
and they become the biggest economists of this freaking century.
They should. I think they should go down a quarter and then maybe hold in July, see what happens, right, for the
Yeah.
summer,
yeah.
and then maybe do another quarter in the beginning of September. That would be
Like,
a realistic
that would be
thing
good.
to do,
That would
right?
definitely help the
Because
market.
it's not
in
going to
my
be a
opinion.
quarter. They're not going to drop 1% by the end of
No,
the year,
definitely not.
right?
But personally, I can't see it happening.
The main thing is there's people that need to move. There's
Yes.
people that need to buy. Shelter's a primary need. There's people that need to downsize right now. Smart size is what I like to call it. There's people that, their parents need to move into their home. So they need to find a bungalow maybe with a room on the main floor.
Yep.
Or families that are growing, or just empty nesters that need to downsize. So there's always going to be this primal need for shelter and reasons why people need to move. Now, this interest rate and all the things that are happening in the market, that's just making people they're trying to time the market.
Yeah.
Is it possible to time the market?
In my opinion, no, I don't think so. It's like trying to predict what the weather is going to be like on September 25th this year. Like your guess is as good as mine.
Such a good answer.
That is amazing.
I think you could make like a calculated
You can.
guess. Like, is it going to snow in late December this year? Probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
Please.
There was like no snow last year.
I still have my winter tires on. You don't know if it's going to snow tomorrow.
Dude,
You know
I
what?
do, unfortunately. I just got brand new tires.
Okay.
Okay.
Michelin Defenders.
I
Thanks.
need new tires. I think my calculated answer, because you're right, you can't really predict the market, but in this type of market, when you know the interest rates are going to come down eventually, I think the next 6 months is a good time to buy. Because let's say you buy something June 15th or whenever it is, right? And it doesn't close until September. Chances are that it's going to be likely that interest rates will be slightly lower come September.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Right?
Yeah.
So when you're about to close, majority of the time, most lenders will let you do what's called a rate drop right before closing, like a week before closing.
Okay.
So let's say you've chosen to get a 3-year 5.3 and you're closing September 15th. Perfect. So in the beginning of September, you look, and if rates, your 3-year now is 4.99, you could say, hey, Mr. Lender, I would like a rate drop. And then they'll give you the lower rate.
Yeah.
So it might be beneficial, honestly, for people to buy something in the next 6 months, in my opinion. 6 to 12 months.
You said that you're seeing a lot of people say, hey, I want to wait to see what happens
Yes.
with the interest rates. Have you been?
A lot of people are saying that.
A lot of
Well-
people are getting pre-approvals.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying a lot of people are just saying like, I want to
Yeah.
for the interest rates to drop in order to buy something.
So
okay.
if you're really smart right now, you're trying to get into the market before all of that happens. So I've actually had buyers reaching out to me saying, "Hey, can we get something before June 5th?" I do not want to be competing with all the buyers that are coming out of the woodworks. And it's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very smart to kind of get ahead of the curve. Usually people do things when everybody else is doing them. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like when there's blood on the streets, that's when everybody is selling, but that's when Warren Buffett's buying, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm very excited about.
But that happens all the time. There's like a very small percentage of the population that actually do things when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Right?
So I like what you said on the other episode. You said, I asked you the question, when's the perfect time to buy? And
Yeah.
you said,
Like when it's right for you.
when it's right for you.
You shouldn't base it off of like interest
Interest
rates
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It has to work for you at the time.
I want to go deeper on that. When is it right for you to buy? What does that mean? When you're right, when the time is ready, when you're the perfect time for you, what does that mean?
I think it could be different for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're renting right now and you see a good opportunity, you've settled down with your family.
Yeah.
You want to settle down into a neighborhood and you see yourselves living there for 5 years. That's just one example of many things. You could be ready to purchase something, right?
Yeah.
Get into the market. Whereas some people feel a lot more comfortable renting because maybe their spouse travels for work. And with that situation, you can give your 60 days notice and you can leave very flexibly.
Yeah.
Be very flexible, sorry.
Yeah, that is good. So one of the things I was reading, it's when you have all your ducks in order.
Yep.
You know what your finances look like, you know what your down payment is, a couple of other things, and then also the stomach to actually go through with the purchase.
Yep.
So what are some of those ducks that if you, let's say you want to get into the market, but you haven't lined those ducks up, but you want to, it's in your vision, it's on your vision board, you want to buy, what are some of the things that we should do today, right now, getting ready for that position?
So the first thing is talk to a mortgage broker. That's
Boom.
like the first thing. Make sure you are financially set. If you aren't ready to go and buy something within the next 90 days, then you come up with your game plan as to what you're going to do within the next 6 to 9 months, right? If you know you're ready, 6 to 12 months. It might not be right now, but you can come up with a plan, right? But if you are ready, you get your pre-approval, your pre-qualification. You figure out how much money you need for your down payment and closing costs. If you have to take money out of your accounts, you have to do so because you have to liquidate some assets.
Yeah.
You need to have your money ready. I dealt with a buyer once that they had their funds, but they didn't take it out of their account. And it took 5 business days.
Oh.
Like you need to have that for the deposit, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So certain things, like you said, get your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And then for your second part of the question, to stomach it,
Yeah.
I tell my clients, when you're ready to buy a home or sell a home, mostly when you're buying a home, it's kind of like a part-time job. You have to think of it as a part-time job. You're ready to go out on the evenings, you're ready to go out on the weekends.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
You
it.
have to invest some time, especially during the COVID times when everything was crazy. People were going out a lot because they were losing 10, 15 offers.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to have the stomach to be ready to be emotionally involved in viewing homes, judging them, putting offers in, losing,
Yeah.
and then finally getting your good one. That's my answer.
Ian, you've helped a lot of your investors with leasing out their homes.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to stomach, that journey as a landlord, as an investor?
Lord, I would say like a big thing is having savings set aside because things are always going wrong. Things are always breaking. So you have to have money because it's essentially everything's your responsibility unless it's negligence on the tenant side. And then the other thing is, should a tenant stop paying tomorrow? In Ontario, there's very strict laws and it's very tenant friendly. So it could take up to 8 months to 8 to 10 months, sometimes upwards of a year
To get the sheriff
to get to evict a tenant. And in that time, the lender's not gonna say that you have to stop making your mortgage payments. So you essentially have to have that money aside. Like it's never happened to one of my landlords, but I always make them aware of everything that they're in for, being a landlord in Ontario especially.
Yeah.
And we need to be telling people about this stuff. As first-time home buyers, as investors, these are some of the things.
Yeah.
If somebody thinks, I want to go buy a house right now, it's like, okay, let's make sure you have your ducks in order.
Exactly.
Are you going to be able to stomach not only the payments, but all the variables that could come
But
with
also
purchasing?
it's not just purchasing the property, right? It's what comes afterwards. It's not just the mortgage payment.
What comes afterwards?
The property taxes, the maintenance of the property, mowing your lawn if you have one, taking care of the outside, taking care of the inside. your utilities. There's so many extras. Your mortgage payment is your mortgage payment plus your property taxes, and if you have condo fees.
Yeah.
We don't count for other utilities besides heat,
Yep.
right? What about your hydro and your water and your there's so many other things to account for. So it's good to back up for a second when you said to get your ducks in a row, create a budget.
Yeah.
So it's not just your mortgage payment, that's what you're qualifying for with your mortgage. Add all those extras on, add a certain amount for groceries a month.
Yeah.
Right? Create a budget, and then if you're ready, you're ready. If not, then you have to wait.
And you need to make a decision. You need to decide, what is it that I want in my life?
Yeah.
What is it that I want in a home? You got to decide, and then you just got to start moving in that direction. A lot of people right now, with the climate of the interest rates, with the climate of how the doom and gloom, they're saying such negative things to themselves, and you're never going to be able to make a decision from a state of uncertainty and a state of fear. So getting in front of a mortgage specialist, getting in front of a realtor, getting in front of the right people that can guide you into the spaces that you need to be will actually help you get into a more empowered state where you're like, I'm going to decide right now that I'll move into my place.
Yeah.
Whether that's a condo, because that's all I can stomach right now, a small little payment, get into that space. Because Alex and Ian and Jinder told me that these are the ducks I need to have in order, and this is what I can stomach.
You need your team. Like you said, you need your mortgage broker, you need your agent, your realtor, you need your lawyer. If you need a financial planner, you need one of those as well. And in my opinion, you also should come up with a will
Yeah.
when you buy a home.
Very
Because God
important.
forbid anything happens to you, right? And like doing something without a will is tough.
Yeah. I think everybody in their life needs an Ian. Seriously, I have an Ian in my life. You are the Ian.
Right here.
Anytime there's something that I need, I'm like, broker of record Ian.
Yep.
I have a question for you. Like, it's so, I feel like as realtors, sometimes we try to know it all. But when you have an Ian in your life, you don't need to know it all.
Definitely don't know it all.
Hey, you know a lot, brother. Like, sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, I love the fact that I'm on this team with Ian.
Yeah.
Because resourcefulness is one of the number one things you need in this business.
Yep.
And when the person that you know knows everything, it's pretty amazing.
He's
You
so
guys are- you guys are too
He's
kind.
like, oh, shucks.
Okay, so in all these different markets right now, sellers are trying to sell their homes, and there's a lot of different list price out there.
Oh, yes.
Why are list price irrelevant? I wanted to, ask you guys this question because a lot of my buyers, they send me a home. One of them just sent me a home in Oshawa. It's a detached home, and it's listed for, let's say, $799. And they said, oh my gosh, I can buy this. Completely irrelevant. I know why. Why are list price irrelevant?
I always say asking price is very different from market value, and you have to pay attention to what the market value is.
Yeah.
Like if you live on a street and there's, let's just say, 4 identical houses, and two identical houses to yours have sold for close to $1 million, and you put your house on the market for 1.199, right? It's irrelevant. Like the 2 other properties that are exact same to yours is about $1 million. Market value is in and around $1 million. Your asking prices doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Whereas on the flip side, let's just say you list for $799.
Sure.
Again, your expectation is likely close to $1 million.
Yes.
So you have to pay attention to market value rather than the asking price is essentially what the seller wants or what the seller believes their house is worth.
Yeah.
But you have to really dive deeper into the comparable properties and what the market value is of the property.
I love that.
But the irrelevancy of a lowered priced house is just to gain attention,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Like
It's a
that's
strategy at the end of
But
the day.
and first time home buyers don't realize that. They think,
Yeah.
oh my God, $799, I can do it.
Yeah.
But there's an offer presentation date.
Sure.
So we
But
have to be
it comes
careful of
down
that.
to education, right?
Yeah.
It's your responsibility, in my opinion, to be educating your buyer that if you see a property like this, $799 in Oshawa, it's likely not the market value and it's likely not what they're expecting. They're holding an offer night. And I feel like if you educate them, then when they see properties on their auto search that is probably too good to be true, it probably is. And they're probably holding an offer night in expectation of getting
Absolutely.
a much higher price.
Yeah. And a cleaner offer.
Mhm.
They might, get market value if you're smart. Buyers aren't overpaying right now. They're, roughly
Yep.
getting around market value.
Mhm.
But the strategy of pricing it low is, you're getting that firm offer.
Yep.
And especially if
Yeah.
you're competing against a few. And that's what a seller wants. They don't want to be dealing with a 7-day financing condition or a condition that my uncle needs to look at the house. Like there's
Yeah.
people putting things like this in their offer.
Yeah.
And as a buyer right now with inventory, increasing, we're able to put certain conditions in.
Yeah.
I considered putting in a condition once during, I mean, this house hasn't sold, but the father wants to see the house. The father lives in another
I feel like,
province.
no offense, I would laugh if I got that as a listing
Yeah,
agent.
I
Like, just
wouldn't.
book another showing
Yeah, I wouldn't.
before you
I
put an offer
probably-
in.
But I mean, I was like, you know
Book a
what?
showing.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, you could do pretty much anything in this.
Yes.
Honestly, in slow markets, it's much easier
Yeah.
to put in your conditions, but
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't entertain that one about.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
And it crossed
Okay.
out.
You were talking about headlines.
Oh gosh, yes.
That's what people see right now. There's the average home price in the GTA. Do you know what it is?
I don't know the exact number now. It's
So yeah, roughly
according to Treb.
according to the stats that just
All of
came out at the
GTA?
end. Yeah, all of GTA.
For a detached house?
Yeah. Well, this is just for average home price in the GTA right now. So it's including
1-1.
condos,
Oh,
townhouses.
1-1.
Ding 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 ding.
Oh,
Wow, good job. It's literally 1.1.
Oh wow. Look
So
at
it's
that.
$1,112,000.
See, and when that comes up on the news, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you, and that's on CP24, and it's like average price in the GTA is 1.1. Like, it's. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear,
Daunting?
but it's a crock of poo because
Yeah.
like that's
It's a
not
crock of
Oh, yeah.
poo.
crock of poo because it's not valid.
It's all across the GTA, and
This
you're
is
including.
Yeah.
I don't think houses are meant to be sold
They're
within like
not meant to be
24
sold in
hours. You know, like
7 days.
You're not supposed to day trade freaking homes. That's what people were trying to do in
that's literally what was
2021.
COVID time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was working. People were buying homes, they were flipping them and selling them 3 months.
Yep.
Tops.
But
you
some
know what
people
I'm-
got caught. Sorry, go
But
ahead.
I was gonna say, you know what I'm finding now? A lot of homes coming for sale that people bought in 2022.
Yeah.
It's only been 2 years, 2021. I just took a friend out. One of my best friends is moving back here from Edmonton, and her and her husband were looking at homes in Brantford. And some of them are they've just bought in 2021, 2022, and they're listed for the same price that they bought for. That's irrelevant
Mhm.
because it doesn't,
Yeah.
like, the sales in that area, just as an example,
Yeah.
they're all listed at like 650. Nothing in the area has sold over 600,000.
I think in
The
those
region.
situations, they just have to. The real estate agent likely advised them of that, but you just have to go through the motions
You
and
have to go
show
through the
them
motions, yep.
that you're not getting any showings, you're not getting any offers,
Yep.
and also like based on whatever their mortgage is, there's likely an amount that they need to hit in order to pay off all those things.
Exactly.
In order to pay out commission. So
Yeah.
I do understand it from that standpoint.
Yep.
But I have seen that as well.
But then it's what you bought for 2-3 years ago is irrelevant to what it's worth
Absolutely,
right
yeah.
now, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
So, of course, this isn't a normal market that we're seeing. Like, these rates of price increases are very low compared to like historical data. And that's why we have to look at in 10-year windows. And if we look in these decade by decade windows in the GTA over 10 years, values have doubled every decade over the last 100 years.
it seems about right.
So,
Wow.
a lot of the biggest realtors, the biggest economists are saying that 10 years from today, because they're looking at the historical data, the average home in the GTA will actually be $2.2 million. Do you think that will
Personally, I don't. But like
actually happen?
again, like if it's happened for the last, what'd you say, 10 decades?
Over the last 100 years,
Years, yeah.
every decade we see a
double.
A double in price.
Personally, I can't see that happening. Like if a townhouse now is like not like in Mississauga, let's just say condo town is 800-900 grand. You're telling me it's gonna be worth like 1.6 to 1.8 mil.
So
in the next 10
I
years?
don't think I think in Toronto, yes, because
This is in the GTA.
this isn't Greater Toronto areas like Oakville to Oshawa, right? That's the GTA. But I'm just talking about specifically Toronto. Look what happened to New York. Look what's happened in Los Angeles. Look what
Yeah.
happened to London. Like I don't know if you guys see the new
London.
the new
You mean London,
on
Ontario?
Netflix buying London.
Oh, London.
Oh,
Yeah,
London,
like-
London, England.
Yeah.
Oh
There's a new Netflix series called Buying London.
no, I haven't seen.
It's
that
actually
one.
kind of cool. I just watched the first episode, but those houses are worth millions.
Yeah.
London is like the most expensive in the world.
Yeah.
And it can happen to Toronto.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen to Mississauga. I
Yeah.
don't think an $800,000 condo is going to be worth 1.6. It might be, 1.1.
Yeah.
I still think that's
You know,
yeah,
It's
likely, yes,
ridiculous because it's like how high can real estate actually go? But I think with Toronto, it will eventually get there. Like the core,
yeah, downtown.
Toronto,
Yeah,
it'll get there eventually.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just the historical data. So when we look at people that did buy, let's say during the peak, if they're if they were buying to live in their home,
Yeah.
they don't really have anything to worry about. But it's those people that were buying to day trade, to flip,
Yeah.
to make that money. They're the ones that are in these sticky situations because prices, even if they do correct, they already overpaid. So once
Right.
they correct, they're already
You're
out.
selling at
But
a
look
huge
at what's
loss.
happening and I'm just going to use Edmonton as an example because again, I have a friend selling. They bought there in 2021, I'd say for about 300,000, a detached.
Yeah.
And they're going to sell for about 330, 340.
Okay.
So in 3 years, 2021, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 years, they've only gone up what, $40,000,
Yeah.
right? That's normal.
Yeah, that is very
Right?
normal. I think in Edmonton, like that sort of area, you buy lower purchase price, but you don't really see the same amount of appreciation you see here.
You wouldn't, because
Yeah.
it's not like a major city like Toronto.
So a lot of people see this headline, $1.1 million. We're in the market, so we almost start getting used to these numbers. But if you're not in real estate and you just have a regular job, let's say you're a nurse or you're a firefighter, a policeman, or just have regular hardworking jobs,
Yeah.
you start looking at a number like $1.2 million and you think, how am I ever going to get into this market? And that's where there's a little bit of a flawed premise there because you can get into the condo market for much lower than that. The average condo right now in Toronto is $728,000. If you go a little bit further, you can start getting into homes for $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. So there's options out there.
But where do people want to live?
Well, that's what you have to ask yourself. But also you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to do to get into the market so that I can start,
Correct.
Exactly.
getting in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and truly, you don't have to live where you own. You could keep renting
Yep.
where you want to live.
Yeah.
And you could go and buy further out and actually have it.
Yeah, I think
We were talking about that. I think that was the first or second episode.
Yeah.
It would be if you don't have the money to buy, your dream home now, which you should never I'm saying not you shouldn't unless you win the lotto. Usually you don't buy your dream home first, right? You work your way to it. So why not go buy an investment property in London, like a duplex or Windsor, cash flow positive, that can help you pay for your rent where you are, and then you eventually refinance, like the BRRRR strategy, right? There's ways to do that.
And there's a huge window of opportunity right now because
In the price bracket.
massive.
Yep.
When you look at some of the condos in Toronto right now, and then you look at a freehold, there's a huge gap there.
Even the condos in Oakville and Burlington, like the 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom,
Yep.
like they're doable for people to invest in.
What do you think one of the reasons are that contributed to this massive gap between condos and townhouses? Because all of a sudden, there was a whole bunch of people that were buying townhouses instead of condos. Do you have any idea of what you think could have contributed to that?
Well, maintenance, are we talking about freehold?
We're talking about freehold versus condo.
Yeah, a freehold
Why is
town.
there
Well,
such
yeah,
a massive gap.
it's the maintenance. The maintenance fees play a huge factor
Yeah.
in your mortgage approval when you're buying a condo.
Okay, there we go. And when interest rates were super low, there was a $300,000 difference between a condo and a townhouse wasn't really adding too much to your mortgage payment at that
No,
time.
it wasn't. Not
So-
at 2%.
Exactly. So what would that have been? Maybe a couple $100 extra a month?
Yes.
point?
Well, I think the rule of thumb is per 100,000. Every time the interest rates went up, I think a quarter of a percent, it was
Yeah.
like $50 or something.
Okay,
Yeah,
there
like
you go.
Per 100,000.
per
yeah.
100,000 or
Sounds about
something
right.
like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
So at that point, you would 100% opt for a townhouse versus a condo.
Correct.
Mhm.
Because you were literally paying essentially the same amount. So
You're not paying maintenance fees.
Yeah. So there's a huge opportunity of window right now because those prices will eventually that gap will start to close.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of equity to be built. If you're on the sidelines right now as an investor or even a first time home buyer, let's go snatch up all the condos. Ian, let's go.
If only.
You had a funny little story about a showing.
Oh yeah, let's wrap it up with this story.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It was
The
a
tenant
video.
one?
Yeah, the video.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it wasn't my showing. It was
Okay.
someone. It was a Toronto agent that posted on TikTok. Basically, she went to a showing. It was a tenanted property. It was a condo.
Yeah.
There was a notice that was taped onto the door. I don't remember it word for word, but essentially it was saying that real estate agents, if you are don't knock on my door before your scheduled time, whether you're 5 minutes before or 30 seconds before. You can knock on my door exactly at your showing time. You can come in, ask any questions. I love the neighborhood. I'll tell you all about it if you need me to. And then it was, if you're even, 10 seconds late above your showing time, I don't care if, if you were busy, if you were at another showing, or if you were stuck in traffic, or if you had trouble finding the lockbox, just leave and reschedule your showing.
See, that is so wrong.
So-
you have a showing window. My appointment is from 5 to 5:30.
Yeah.
I can come in at 5:25 if I want to.
No, she's not saying you can't do that.
That's what she was saying.
No, it's not.
Yeah, she said if you're late, do not
No,
even
if
come.
you're late, okay, so clarification. So
Okay.
if it was if you're late by after 5:30, don't
Oh.
bother coming in.
Okay.
Not
okay,
late as
okay,
in
then
like
that's fine.
5:10.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think what likely happened, because I've had this happen on
Yeah, that
showings
makes sense.
before,
Sure.
is sometimes agents just don't care. Like if your showing is 5 to 5:30, again, I get it. You have maybe 4 showings before and you're
Yeah.
behind. They don't call and they just walk in at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that's so wrong.
People are going about their lives, right? You have to be respectful at the
Yeah,
same
they're-
time, whether it's
sure.
an owner or a tenant living in the property.
Absolutely.
So I think she probably had a really bad experience with maybe one or multiple agents, which caused her to leave that notice on the door.
There needs to be some real realtor etiquette. When you show up to a showing, you should show
Yeah.
up between your time. But if there is a moment that you're going to be late with your clients, or let's say your client's running late, give the agent a call. The people
Yeah.
that are in the home.
But maybe that tenant had someone do that, right? Like come in after their time. Like that's if I
Yeah.
was
Most
living
likely,
there and,
yeah.
and someone had and I knew a person was coming to see my house from 5 to 6 or 5:30 to 6
Yeah.
and they came in at 6:15, I'd be like, "Yo, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Get the hell out of my
Yeah.
house."
Yeah.
But if it was on the reverse that she said if you're if you're coming in at 5:31, and your appointment's from 5:30 to
Yeah,
6, don't come at all, that's kind of
Yeah,
ridiculous.
no, that
So,
wouldn't apply for sure. But you got to be respectful at the
Yeah.
end of the day, no matter what.
I actually just I was on the showing side, so I was taking my buyers out for some showings, and it was tenanted, the home. And so we get there, and there's no lockbox. So I call the agent. I'm like, "Hey, where's the lockbox?" He's like, "Oh, well, just there is no lockbox. Just go up to the house or the condo and knock on the door, and they'll let you in." So I'm like, "Okay, no problem." So the security guard's like, "Yeah, go head on up." I go upstairs, I knock on the door, and this woman opens the door. And she's looking at me, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm here for the showing." And she speaks no English. And I'm like, "Hola, you hablo español?" And she's like, sí. And my clients are standing right there. I'm like, "Oh, showing. I have a showing. You hablo un poco español?" I speak a little bit of Spanish.
Oh, okay.
She's like, "Oh, ha," smiles, closes the door. I knock again. I'm like, "Oh, no, we have a realtor. I have a showing right now. And you let me in for showing." And I'm like, "Me, come in." And she's like, "Oh, no." Smiles, takes my card, closes the door.
She didn't allow
I'm
you
like,
in?
"I am so sorry, guys." So there's no notes, there's no nothing. The agent, no, she didn't let us in.
Oh.
Did you call
So-
the agent?
Well, I call the agent, knock on her door again. She opens the door, smiling again. And at this point, my client, they're doing the most. They have these apps where you can type things and it translates.
Oh,
yeah.
And we're having full-blown conversations back and forth. She's typing things in Spanish, I'm typing things in English. She's just and at the end of every explanation, she would just smile and close the door. Finally, yeah, it was super cute. I was like, "God bless you. God bless your mother, your everybody in your life." And so we finally got in. But it was a funny story. But some realtors, they would have just barged in,
Yeah.
whatever. I was so angry to the other agent. My clients are here and they meet. It's like, hey, we're human beings at the end of the day.
Things happen.
Things happen and we're in the people business.
Yeah.
We're supposed to connect. And
But yeah, we have to be respectful for tenanted properties.
Yeah, even owner-occupied properties. You can't just barge in
Yeah.
45 minutes after your showing time.
well, that was fun.
That was
Yeah,
fun,
that's
guys.
cool.
Our
Fun.
viewership was going up.
It is,
We have
yes.
Viewers out in Jamaica.
Yeah, that was.
Stop it. We have viewers out in Jamaica.
Yes, we do.
Hey, I wonder if we're gonna get any viewers out in what country would you like to have
Australia.
Australia. Okay.
I do have a few friends out there, so maybe they're listening.
I feel like
Love
you get some
that.
Spanish viewers now.
Yeah.
It's Jinder speaks
Yeah.
Spanish.
There we go. But it's been great, having this little
This has
conversation.
been fun. I can't wait
all,
for to see how this evolves, and we're gonna have some guests on in the next few podcasts.
Yeah. And if you feel like you got some value out
Yep.
of this episode and you are loving what we're throwing down,
Give us a 5-star on Spotify
that would be great. And on Apple.
Music.
and on
Yeah,
Apple Music.
Podcasts.
Yep. And then if you have any questions, let us know, and we'll maybe on episode 10 we'll have a Q&A session from some public questions.
Yeah, we should start getting them in.
Yeah, we should.
So we have all the questions.
Yeah, we'll
maybe
write them
on
down.
Maybe on the next one.
Episode 5 of Keepin'.
It.
Fresh.
Love you.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Bye.